When you think of French cooking, there's only one name that comes to mind, Mrs. Julia Child. Today we'll get a chance to step into the kitchen with the chef, author, and TV personality herself and learn all about how she became America's most beloved French chef. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
Would you mind if I asked you a few questions today?
I don't mind.
Great. Could you tell me where you were born and where did you grow up?
Well, I was born on August 15th, 1912 in sunny Pasadena, California, a town I call paradise. Just about the best place you could think of to grow up.
And that sounds like a great place. What about your parents? What were they like?
Well, my father was a smart businessman. He was strict and reserved. Once I stole cigars with my friend Babe. We climbed a tree and smoked them. When my father found out, he offered me $1,000 in savings not to smoke until I was 21. My mother, though, was a warm and open person who encouraged my freedom and independence. I loved her a lot.
Wow, that sounds like a great childhood.
It really was.
Any historical moments that you can remember throughout your life?
Yes, the war on Japan. I remember when Franklin Roosevelt declared war. I actually worked for the OSS, America's first intelligence agency. I had the highest levels of security clearance a civilian could have. I was basically the keeper of secrets. My favorite part of the job was when I met Paul.
It sounds like Paul was a big part of your life. Can you tell me? And we're back with Julia Child.
Hello.
So could you tell me, Julia, how did you meet Paul Child?
Well, I met Paul in India on a mission for the OSS. He was there for the visual presentation branch of the OSS. We disliked each other at first, but then we fell in love. He was ugly and short at first and bald. He thought I was tall and lanky, and I talked too much. But then we realized that we had much in common, and then we fell in love.
Wow. So when did you marry Paul?
I married Paul on September 1st of 1946, but suddenly we suffered a serious car accident. But it did not stop us. We got married in casts and bandages. I knew right there that he was the smartest and most interesting man I ever met.
So how about when and why did you start cooking?
Well, I started cooking when I was 32. Up until then, I just ate. I began to like cooking because of Paul. He interests me in food, so I thought I must learn to cook for Paul. No one is born a great cook. One learns by doing.
So when you started cooking and moved to Paris, what did you do?
When we moved to Paris, I took classes at Le Cordon Bleu. We met all in a crowded basement and cooked. I worked with Chef Max Bugnard. He was a kind and gentle man in his 70s who spent his life cooking. He was a remarkable man. I graduated in 1950. I was officially a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu.
Wow, that's really impressive. So you started a cooking school, am I right? How did you do that?
Oh, what fun that was. I did that with Simone and Lucette. We called it the School of the Three Hearty Eaters. I loved teaching. It brought out my inner performer. While that was all happening, Simone and Lucette and I started a cookbook.
And why did you help with the cookbook?
Why not? It was fabulous. We cooked 10 hours a day to get the recipe correct. I found myself working entire days to write. Finally, when we finished, we sent a draft into the publisher. We got a letter saying the book was too long. That didn't stop us. We edited it and sent the book back. They approved it, and the book flew off the shelves.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cookbooks.
Oh,
so
thank you.
You wound up on TV later on. How did you make that happen?
Well, in February of 1962, I received an invitation to show up on the television station WGBH. He offered to do an interview. I wrote back saying I needed a hot plate and ingredients. The man sounded puzzled, but I knew I would surprise him. How else would I do it? I cooked my omelet and chatted comfortably with the host. I taught the viewers how to make a perfect omelet. Before I knew it, I was offered a series called The French Chef, and of course I said yes.
Wow. So what was it like to do a whole television series?
It was a bit of a high-wire act, but it suited me. If the dish didn't turn out right, I would teach the viewers how to fix it. Viewers loved it, though. They were fascinated. I would always end an episode with bon appetit.
So you did the TV show, but you didn't do any commercials. Why not?
Well, I turned them down because I was an educator, and I would stay with the educators.
I see.
I just didn't want to I didn't want to be any way associated with commercialism.
So when you weren't cooking, what did you do with your friends?
Well, I wasn't snobby about food, so whenever my friends were over, I served my favorite snacks, Pepperidge Farm goldfish and mini hot dogs with sauerkraut.
Oh, that sounds really tasty.
How does that sound for a chef?
That sounds really, really good. So I know Paul was your best friend. How did you feel about his death?
Paul Child, the man who's always there. Porter, dishwasher, official photographer, mushroom dicer, and onion chopper. Editor, fish illustrator, manager, taster. Idea man, resident poet, and most of all, husband. He was the greatest man I could ever think of.
Well, it sounds like you were a pretty good wife, too. So is there something you wish you could do over?
Of course not. All of my mistakes brought me here. If I hadn't joined the OSS, I would have never met Paul and gone to Paris. I would never have learned to cook and become a chef. I would do nothing over again.
Well, Julia, it's been wonderful talking to you and getting to know you a bit. Thank you so much for your time.
Too. You're welcome. Bon appetit.
Wonderful.